Well, and also, Glenn really opened my eyes. I mean, Glenn, you said some pertinent things on the show the other day, and I really thought a lot about it, guys, because I thought a lot about, I know Conan's a big Red Sox fan, and, Conan knows I'm a big baseball fan. Bro, I sit back and I watch the MLB Network, and I'm a fan, bro. Even though I know a lot of baseball, I never step between the lines. I'm a fan. I know my place. I listen to these guys on the network. I'm in awe of Smoltz and Reynolds and Plesac, and the list goes on and on and on. That's what fans do. Bro, look what these dirt sheet writers have done. I mean, it's unbelievable when you look at it. Bro, all these guys started as marks. Okay, bro, they were all marks for the wrestling business, much like I'm a mark for baseball. Meltzer, Keller, Scherer, Johnson, Ryan Satin, all of them, bro, they all started as wrestling marks, bro. Well, all of a sudden, their markhood, they became authorities, bro. Okay, from authorities, bro, they graduated to journalists. Okay, bro, so now they're reporting on, as professionals under the guide of journalists, they're reporting on something they were never a part of. All they were fans. But here's the kicker, bro. Then they take it to the extreme where they actually start personally attacking people in the freaking business. Bro, this would be like me getting on Twitter right now and saying, hey, did everybody know John Smoltz is a racist? But when you look at what these guys have done, it's incredible, bro. They're marks. They're fans of the business. They convince themselves that they're authorities. They report on fiction as fact. And then, bro, they start personally attacking us that were actually in the business and did something to the point of Ryan Satin's calling my sponsors and calling Podcast One. Bro, the behavior is unfreaking believable.
Well, here's the thing. When I look at somebody like, Bob Costas, and I can watch him do baseball. I've seen him in the Olympics. I've seen him do a myriad of sports, and he wasn't, a player. I don't really care. To me, it's just how much do you know about that sport. Obviously, whether it's Meltzer or Keller or whoever the fuck it is, they have their followers because there's people that, like what they have to say. They like their opinion, whether we like it or we don't like it. But to me, the main thing that my only bone of contention is if you're not at least going to go to the source to find out, what's what you're reporting, then what good is what you're reporting? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and of course, Conan, during my conversation with Satin, I told him to come on my show. I said, bro, why don't we have this conversation on my show? If you've got nothing to hide, come on my show and have this conversation. And of course, he declined talking to me face to face. And it's like Conan. It's like, bro, Dave Meltzer has gone on right, and bro, he has said this numerous times. He has called me a failure. Vince Russo was a failure. Now, first of all, bro, I would never in a million years even call Dave Meltzer a failure because the fact is the guy's made a ton of money in this business. But, bro, regardless of what my ratings were at WWE, TNA, WCW, regardless, bro, you don't spend 20 plus years with 3 major wrestling companies and consider that a failure. It's like, bro, when I look at Major League Baseball players, bro, I don't care if somebody's batting .210. They're in the freaking major leagues. So the end of story, bro.
I think what happens, Vince, is that you're a lot like me, very controversial and opinionated. I'm not very well liked. Neither are you. We're both very polarizing because we speak what we say. And so I don't know where your shit started with Meltzer, but whatever's happened, you guys keep now going like back and forth. And then now it's just kind of like, every time somebody says something, you said something about him or vice versa, you guys kind of go off on each other. But
but Conan, it's very, very different when you personally attack somebody compared to when I'm goofing on him because, you know, he thinks New Japan is the be-all, end-all. I have no problem with that, bro. If anybody wants to look at my body of work and pick apart my body of work, that's cool. But what these guys do, bro, is they make it personal. That with me, bro, that's crossing the line, and that's where we're going to have a problem.
Right. Well, that happens when you're opinionated, as you know. You know what I'm saying? So you can you can shut your mouth and not be who you are and make no money, or you can be who you are like you are and make money off of it. You know, which is what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I
just think plus too. I just think the problem with Dave's position was when he calls Vince a failure and to get the echo chamber, the herd mentality, believes it. I just asked Dave, if somebody that's listening to the show, tweet him and ask him if Vince is a failure during the period of time that Vince worked, who were the successes? Because you have to measure failure against success. So if Vince is a failed, failure, if you look at his body.
Here's a problem. Look, here's a problem. Vince, this is how I look at it. Vince went down there. What were the years where you were doing the really good ratings of Vince?
97, 98, 99.
97, 98, 99. His detractors, the guys that don't like him, will say, oh, well, Vince had to edit him. He wasn't as good as he said, and the people that knew, that know what he really did are going to go, he really helped me out a lot. We've seen backstage film of you kind of putting shit together with wrestlers, and wrestlers have come out and said how much you helped them. But like I said, you're very polarizing. So that gets that, the people that don't like you, and they start the echo chamber, and you just got to deal with it, bro, just like I do. So I've been in your shoes, you know what I'm saying? And I am in your shoes. So I understand you. But if you're going to bury somebody, you also have to put over what they did. And without a doubt, you were there during their most successful, period, and probably their best, most creative period ever. Yeah. And nobody can take that away from you.
And like I said, Conan, all that stuff, even that stuff is fair game. Yeah, bro, people they want to. Here's the funny thing too. It's after WWE, where of course Vince was my filter, I was a failure everywhere else I went. Bro, freaking TNA was doing 2 million people at one time. 2 million people, bro, when I was writing their television. They've been doing 350,000 people for the last freaking 5 years. So if TNA doing 2 million people is a failure, then I guess I'm a failure. But even with that, Conan, all that stuff's fine. I don't give a shit. But, bro, when you're going to start calling sponsors and telling people to contact the place that you work because you're a racist and you're a sexist and you're a homophobe and you're threatening women, bro, that's a little much, Conan.
Well, that's what happens when you get into a fight with somebody that'll do something like that. They resort to doing shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Vince, now that your show's not on Podcast One, how did that turn out with you leaving Podcast One, and how is it? What has been the result of you just going to the Realm Network now? How has that worked out for you?
Glenn, this is all God honest truth. Because Glenn, let me tell you something, and I think everybody. Let me
tell you this too. Let me see this. This is on the sidebar. Not a sidebar, but Vince had been contacting me at least a month ago, and basically was talking about he wanted to leave Podcast One, and basically could I talk to Jericho possibly and see about what was going on in Westwood One? And I told him, well, bro, Westwood One's a wait and see right now because I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. But bro, for a while, even before this happened, you'd been looking into possibly leaving Podcast One.
Glenn, in the last 4 months. In the last 4 months of Podcast One, bro, we made $1,400. Do the math, bro. We were doing 7 shows a week. That's less than $100 a week. Bro, our numbers from day one, we were there for about 2 years, bro, for our numbers from day one were going up. They never stopped going up. But what happened was our money went down. So, bro, a part of this was too, bro, I wasn't just sitting around. I was calling them like every time the check came, like, guys, you need to explain to me like how my numbers are going up, but my dollars are going down. In the last 4 months, guys, it got freaking ridiculous. Less than $100 a week. That's why we moved Castrating the Marks from Podcast One to Realm Network, because it was our most popular show and we were making less money. We were planning on moving Glenn's show from Podcast One to the Realm Network because it was a popular show and it wasn't making any money. And basically what Podcast One had turned into was a promotional tool for us to get everybody over to the Realm Network. But the truth of the matter is, if we would have stayed with that plan, bro, it would have been like a drip process. We would have gotten more people to Realm, but it would have been a very, very long process. And in the meantime, we were whoring ourselves out to Podcast One because they wouldn't pay us. So by cutting ties with Podcast One, which was not even a week ago, we've picked up 650 subscribers to the Realm Network, guys, which is about, 7 times the amount that we're going to be making on a monthly basis compared to Podcast One. Guys, if I was making money at Podcast One and Ryan Satin had done this, are you freaking kidding me, bro? I would have had my lawyers all over him. I would have had my lawyers all over Podcast One. But the fact that we weren't making any money, all we were doing was promoting, and the fact that by doing this, all these people followed us to Realm Network and are now paying us for our work, we would have never, ever, ever been able to make this kind of income at Podcast One. So at the end of the day, I mean, it seriously was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, like I said, we had the same thing. Our subscriptions went incredibly up when they had to pay for the 2 shows, and a lot of them have stayed on for ours is called the Patreon site. Mm-hmm. So it just shows, how the fans will support the show, and we want to thank them for that. And at the same time, you don't got to be even giving, because not only was Podcast One giving you hardly no money, they were taking a cut of it too. Here at the Realm Network, I'm sure the cut is a lot less, right?
Oh, Conan, there's a couple of things. Not only is it a lot less, but they have my back. When this whole thing went down, Realm Network looked into it. They looked into the whole story. They looked into the accusations, and they came back to me and said, Vince, you did nothing, bro. Like, you did absolutely nothing. Ever since Satin went to Podcast One over a year ago, bro, and he went to my sponsors and they didn't have my back then, that was always in the back of my mind, bro. If I said something on Castrating the Marks that made Ryan Satin cry, is he going to call my sponsors? Is he going to call Podcast One? Now with the Realm Network, bro, because they know me, and they know this is the second time he's done this, I don't have to worry about that, bro, because they have my back. So at the end of the day, as a shoot, this castrating is going to be dedicated to Ryan on Thursday night. It's going to be an appreciation night for Ryan Satin, because thanks to him, all of us at the Realm and everybody contributes, we are finally getting paid the money we deserve to get paid. But Conan, it's what you said, and it's a beautiful thing. Here was our employer, Podcast One, dicking us around, bro, not paying us, our employer. And here are these fans, these loyal fans at the end of the day that realize what we do. There's a lot of work that went into it. They know we know what we're talking about, and they are the ones that are supporting us. That's a beautiful thing, bro.